Hey guys, Blake Papers here, and I'm pretty much dead. Fred and the gang have been looking for me ever since I ran out of power. Luckily, I'm under this desk, so they'll never find me. It's been getting weird though. Freddy's been trying to lure me in with music ever since, but come on, does he think I like that music that much? Does he know what kind of music I actually like?
Five Nights at Freddy's, one of the biggest gaming franchises in recent years, has so much fan content, let's plays, discussions, theories, even a plethora of fan games.
In fact, go into your couch cushions, you'll probably find one.
But none compared to the FNAF fan songs. Arguably the most popular piece of content attached to the franchise is the Living Tombstone's Five Nights at Freddy's 1 song.
Because I swear every single time someone sings the first few notes, it's a coin flip, whether or not it's the true toward or march, or, I guess it's not the EDM track this time. Damn it!
In all seriousness, you can't go two steps into mentioning FNAF fan songs without mentioning the legendary meme lord himself, Yoav Lando, and his partner in crime, Sam Hoft, aka the Living Tombstone. You might know them from songs like No Mercy, Discord, Basics and Oh, hey, this sounds pretty good. This is how we live our lives, searching for the answers inside of everything. With hundreds of millions of views, the only song really rivaling them being, something called My Ordinary Life or whatever. It's pretty clear that most people know them for that, or, only know the songs.
Now I've had a varied history of all of these songs. Well, TLT in general, but all of these songs nonetheless. And today I'm going to tell you all of my opinions about these songs and see whether or not I die at the end. Not to the animatronics, but to FNAF and TLT fans. Sorry, FNAF and TLT fans. This video isn't for you. Unless you want to get really angry.
Starting with the first song, the original Five Nights at Freddy's song was all the rage for me. I think everyone could agree that the song was such a banger when it first came out. It was quite the addicting song for a game we all barely knew about, but were infatuated all the same. I mean, it's got it all. A fun beat, addicting hook, and a style like no other that matched the uniqueness of the internet. That being said, it might have been the actual quality of the song, or the over-listening to it. But I stopped being into the song and was rather over it. I might be getting ahead of myself, so let's just move on to pretty much as soon as everyone figured out FNAF 1, FNAF 2 came out. And so how like the FNAF 1 song was pretty figured out, a FNAF 2 song came out from the same guys named It's Been So Long. I feel like It's Been So Long is the fan favorite song, even if it isn't peaking the original popularity, of course. But I think it was for many reasons. The FNAF 1 song was pretty plain even then in presentation. It was just a lyric video with a bit of editing. The song was pretty much a summary of the story everyone and their moms figured out as well, and even the sound of it felt like it was casting a pretty big net to catch the most general audience. It's Been So Long is so different, but in the right way. You know how artists sometimes turn into one-hit wonders? Well, you think with such a perfectly addicting sounding song like the FNAF 1 song, this would happen. But It's Been So Long manages to hit those addicting, hooky tones, but also sounds so much more deep and personal. It does help that the lyrics are actually displaying a theory of their own, kind of going against the grain compared to FNAF 1, and throwing their hat in the ring when it comes to figuring out the story. Now sadly, they were wrong, as they predicted an adult female died and haunted the puppet. And yeah, honestly, I don't know where they got that from, but they still told an engaging story. This time with fun visuals of 8-bit sprite animation, reminiscent of the ones used in FNAF 2 Death minigames. Even that 3D intro and outro of that arcade machine was pretty tight, and man, I was super into this song, so much so I think it did overtake the first song for me at the time. Extremely engaging, not as overbearing as the original, yet still addicting in its own right, and just overall super fun. Then FNAF 3 came out, and this was the first time we felt a delay in the songs. By the time the song came out, I think a couple people already threw their hat in the ring, and a little after that even, then the song came out. We were all literally waiting for it, and while it wasn't bad, I don't think anyone was really crying about it this time around.
It was a sign of things to come.
But yeah, the FNAF 3 song came out, and I was a bit disappointed. I wasn't super into it originally. I don't think I liked it more than the first or second song, but I think I was still addicted to it.
I was also not as annoyed with this song as I was with the FNAF 2 song, because yeah, I was following the lore at this point, but I do respect their choice to just go with what everybody generally knows, rather than using a sadly outdated theory for a song that's really good.
And the 3D animation was gorgeous. I love the animatronics walking down the hallways, their animation when they're getting taken apart, the purple guy being in the shadows, their pieces flying everywhere. I love how gruesome and yet PG it is. It's basically where FNAF kind of sits anyways, and while I think it was the vocals that were a bit much for me, I loved the chorus and instrumental. It was just absolutely beautiful. While maybe not up there, I still think it deserved to be with the pack of current FNAF songs by, at this point, the legendary TLT. Then we waited for I Got No Time, which was a very long wait in comparison. So much so, Yoav actually made an apology saying that he wishes he could actually get it out there. So my impatience dissipated into a saddened understanding. I knew the struggle.
So when the song finally came out, I was excited as a kid on Christmas, because for a while, honestly, this song was my favorite.
I don't know why, but even when I was critical about it, I for some reason loved the callback to the original FNAF 1 song, in which I Got No Time was a lyric video with just some fun editing and simple visuals. It also went back to the robotic voice for the singer. The song also just leads into the terror. Instead of the sadness or thriller of the second or third respectively, it's all about that original fear that the FNAF 1 song tapped into. And again, still staying away from what we can guess and sticking to what we knew, with some misunderstandings.
Those fuckers are not your friends.
This song was going back to the addicting nature of the original. Actually quite literally. But man, I was in love with the song, and as a nice end to it all originally, the final thank you was a really nice touch. My current opinions about the actual song were still pretty positive, all things considered. Until... So around when FNAF World and its sister location came out, I felt like this is when a lot of people were finally having their fatigue point with the franchise. You know, we all thought we were done, but then sister location came out, and I'll be real with you, I was like,
we're still making songs about these games?
I mean, Garrett Williamson, the guy who made the FNAF Not Scary, was sick of making Not Scaries, ending it off with sister location, and then Pymations was done with 5 AM at Freddy's and didn't even make a sister location video. And while even I was done with the fan content of FNAF, even though I was still watching Game Theory and Markiplier for it. It all was cemented, however, when I listened to the sister location song. I think this also had a long creation time between the game. It really did come out of nowhere for me, and when I fully listened to it, I was not into it. At first it seemed like it was going to be cutesy, but then it went pretty hard, and I just didn't feel it, man. I mean, first off, this isn't really the vibe of sister location. It's super overproduced and extremely dark. Sister location kind of had this air of wolf in sheep's clothing. I mean, not a really well disguised wolf, but you can see the angle. Good try, baby. This is literally just ripping the band-aid and making it sound so violent. And even the visuals are like that. But I mean, the thing is, I love the 2D animation. Yeah, it's also not very sister location. The fire is more like FNAF 3 or Pizzeria Simulator. But man, it looks so freaking good. And yeah, it matches the music, but again, not super into the music. I think the ending credits are actually a better example of what sister location was. It's eerie. The song and music video were trying to paint them as monsters of eldritch horror. But really, they're just off-putting, and something is going awry, but we just don't know it yet. Actually, JT Music Songs Join Us for a Bite, while also not my favorite, was honestly a better example. It's innocent, but you can definitely feel that sinister energy. So when you think sister location song, you think Andrea Storm Caden. and not TLT, sadly. But yeah, that was TLT's last FNAF song. For a while. I mean, it was pretty clear that they weren't a one-trick pony with what the fan songs need to be. And even with the fan songs in general, they seem to be growing out of it a good amount after. So, leave it to Try Hard Ninja, DA Games, CG5, Name Wants to Battle, and all of them to do that work. Until, again, Security Breach seemed to be when people actually started to care about FNAF again. Kinda like a second win, like when Minecraft got the Nether update. And while Security Breach was honestly pretty bad with the polish and all that, some notable figures came back from the woodworks for it. This includes Pymations, who is really late to the party. And nope, Garrett Williams is still not coming back. Last I heard, he's helping this guy named Scott the Waz?
Son of a bitch.
But we did get the Living Tombstone back. And well, it was an interesting return. I'm just gonna say it. What carried the song was the music video. I love the cel-shaded look with the comic book panels constantly being broken and skipped into and all that. Visually, it looks stellar. Song-wise, it's weird. It's just kind of awkward with its lyrics. The title is called This Comes From Inside, and the chorus goes, Now This Comes From Inside, which it just sounds so awkward. I like the eerie instrumental. And again, nice we get robotic vocals like in the first and fourth song. But all in all, it was mostly a great music video with some alright music packed along with it. Not the greatest return, but yeah. Funnily enough, around 2 years before the song came out, I made the top 10 Living Tombstone songs. Now, the reason I kept from talking about it until now is because it's when I started to feel pretty underwhelmed about the songs in question. I mean, I Can't Fix You was already pretty much in there, but even after a couple of years not listening to it, my opinions of the songs went down a lot. The FNAF 1 song sounded basic when I reinvestigated it, and just not as addicting as it once was. It's Been So Long and Dying of Fire felt cheesy in lyrics, and not as fun in turn. FNAF 4 is probably the only survivor, as it's the only one that made it on, but only really at number 9. And even then, afterwards, I regret putting it on there to begin with, and snubbing songs like Memory or the Apache remix or 1,000 Doors from the actual list felt horrible a couple months after the video went out. Now, I don't think the feelings weren't true at the time. I'm not trying to say anything like that. But the FNAF songs started to feel tainted in my view of them. And 2 years after the fact, I was still feeling that opinion. Thinking, man, did they just not age well? Well, then the FNAF movie was coming out, and everyone was excited to see it. Soon after, people were making jokes that the famous TLT song was going to be used in it. I, for one, was on the side of, not likely, cause duh. Like, the trailers were hinting at the movie being fully focused on horror, so the likelihood of having anything like that in the movie would take some points away with how serious it was taking itself. And then the goth remix came out. First off, the goth remix. Man, the goth remix. I gotta say, during the time when I was heavily critical of the FNAF 1 song, this reinvigorated my love for that song. The dark tone matches better for the lyrics. The goth acoustic rock hits such a good horror note. And frick man, the robotic vocals. I still get goosebumps.
This was a great frickin' remix first and foremost. But that made me suspicious.
Why create something like this so close to the FNAF movie? I mean, this seems like an altered version for a movie anyways. Or, what if they released the original song in the credits? That could be... I mean, Scott loves fan creations, so why not have the most popular FNAF fan creation ever in the movie? I got so paranoid that I did not look at the comment section, because that's when the FNAF movie came out. I was freaking out. So luckily, I was able to stream the FNAF movie a day after with my girlfriend's Prime account, and watch the movie then. Oh, I guess if I were to comment on the movie, it was cool. It sadly wasn't that scary though. Most of the gore was off screen, and the animatronics weren't as freaky or eerie. There was also just no good horror in that movie. Story was okay, characters okay, but the novelty of seeing FNAF as a movie was great, and kind of the whole point of that to begin with.
And then those credits rolled. Man, I would have killed to be in that theater.
They did it. Those motherfuckers did it. They put the FNAF 1 song in there. I knew it. Honestly, I was pretty distracted with the movie to actively be thinking about the song being in it. So the song being in there was super surprising at the time. I mean, I would have been able to tell if I looked at the original EP of the Goth remix a little bit more. See, it included a remastered version of the original song. I was hella confused, but I guess it sounded a bit different maybe? Turns out the song was altered a bit, separating the instruments to be on separate tracks to make it sound better on quality Dolby Atmos speakers.
Like in a theater per se.
Still, I didn't know this until I looked it up, so... There were some other stuff that they did after that are pretty notable, but I would say that this FNAF TLT story pretty much ends here. Now, if I were to say what I felt about the songs a year ago when I freshly experienced all this, I would say the songs are still alright, but not in my top 10. Of course, except maybe for the Goth remix. That being said, it's been a year, and I listened to all of them once more. And...
no, I love all the songs again.
I wouldn't say they're still anywhere near the top 10, but from alright to freaking classics, I think that's a great leap. While these songs aren't winning any rewards in my heart, they're still near and dear, and growing up with them to enjoying them now really cemented that, and I couldn't be more honest.
He's singing the EDM track! Get out of the way!
I'm Blank Papers, and if anybody asks... Oh. Hello?
You're fired.
Oh.
Time ago it was all for us, shall fill our wounds with a pound of salt. And your reason to justify scars you can't quantify, lock us inside the vault. Now this is your fault.